So if you grew up in a home that was chaotic in some way, there were addiction, abuse, mental illness, perfectionism, too much authoritarianism. There are so many things that create this hypervigilance in kids and a hyper awareness of our surroundings. Right? How many of you who listen and to my show or watch my show on YouTube would consider yourself a highly sensitive person or an empath? I know a lot of you are shaking your heads. Yes, and I identify as the same. Why is that? Because there was an adaptive reason for us to become that in our childhood. You learn early on, if you're in any kind of a chaotic system, that your needs cannot be at the top of the list, that you must prioritize other people's needs. So if you're in a situation and it's about safety, you are prioritizing that dysfunctional parent's needs and wants. You're trying to stay below the radar if someone had an explosive temper, or if someone was very judgmental, if someone was very mean, if there was addiction. A kid, nobody has to teach us how to do these things. This is our adaptive functioning because we are wired to survive. So we learn how to take care of things, and we try to get positive attention from the adult figures in our life by doing these things. So even if it is at the expense of ourselves, as a kid, you don't have a choice. You just need to get by and do whatever you need to do. What happens when you're always in this state of hypervigilance? We can call it, it really isn't technically. So I'll call it hyper awareness, because hypervigilance, there's actually a whole entire psychological thing around hypervigilance that is very specific. So we're going to say hyper awareness, right? What does this create? This is an enhanced state, let's say, of sensory sensitivity. So we are dialed in to what is happening. And a lot of times, if you came from a family where nobody had the ability to conflict solve well, or if there was violence, or if there was alcoholism, or whatever, you're basically intensely scanning to make sure everything is okay. Like, you're scanning, even if you don't know it. If you haven't tried to not do this, and if you haven't brought this from your unconscious mind to your conscious mind,